privilege to be here. I'd like to take this opportunity for the next sort of 20, 25 minutes, really pour my heart out about the way the world's moving, particularly with finance and banking. Thank you for your kind introduction. It's a privilege. Yes, I feel like I'm very much like a bridge. I'm based in London. I work with a lot of fintechs, accelerator programs in Europe. I do a lot of work nowadays in San Francisco with places like Plug and Play, work quite closely with the Google finance people. But yet again, I go to Iran occasionally and help the amazing technological developments taking place in that region. Also, I've worked quite a lot with a number of senior executives here in the UAE, with Emirates Bank, Noor Islamic Bank. So I feel like I'm a bridge. I like to sort of bring a flavor of what's happening in the world, and sometimes I feel like I'm a banker. I feel really, really passionate towards banking. I don't have anything to sell. I'm not here pushing any product. It's just something that comes from my heart that I want the bankers, particularly in this region, to wake up, smell the coffee. The world is changing so quickly. If you don't provide great services, you're going to become legacy. So what I really want to talk about in this presentation, across the nation, okay, that's a little bit about me. I think, thank you very much, very kind of you. I don't talk about any more about myself. I really want to talk about what are the key technologies and innovations that you need to adopt to be able to provide great service to the customers, and so the customers are happy. I made this statement, in fact, it was quoted a while ago, that I predict that by the year 2025, whether you want to accept or not, cash will be dead. Finito, adios amigos. Cash is dirty, cash is expensive. I was very, very impressed with what took place in India just a few months ago when they got rid of the high denomination. Some of the most technologically advanced countries around the world are the ones that are basically getting rid of cash. Cash is inefficient. And I would like to see this region also really being aware of that and thinking about getting cash. And I think the next stage is debit and credit cards. The physical debit credit card will be dead in a few years. What do you mean? Debit and credit cards dead? Yes. Can you think of, for example, in our bank, we produce millions of these bloody plastic cards that we have to distribute to our customers. That will be dead. It will be replaced by what? Virtual debit cards, virtual credit cards, which are placed instantly into your smart wallet. Think of the cost saving to our customer that will imply. So I really want, presumably I'm really speaking very much to the banking infrastructure, or the banking executives, and the fintech. Be aware of that. Don't necessarily do your business today based upon, I think, based upon cash. Really think about the efficiencies that virtual wallet and virtual cards will provide you. The other thing which is interesting, we're beginning to see this big trend. Branches all over Europe are closing down significantly. I feel really sorry for legacy banks. They've got many, many branches. Branches are tend to be expensive, require a lot of overheads. Will you still need Will you still need branches? Yes, I think the answer to that, yes, you do. But you need strategical branches. You need sexy branches. You need branches which people go in and feel comfortable about. And I think what you're seeing now with ATMs, I don't know if you've heard of them, there's a new generation of NCR called MTMs, no longer an ATM. It is your mini bank. You can do everything in the ATM. So we can close this. Banks are becoming very, very much smaller scale, boutique bank. Come have a coffee and let me check maybe your issues about loan or whatever it might be. Why do you need branches? You still need branches, I think, to add credibility. You still need branches to do, unfortunately, physical document checking, which a lot of regulatory authorities require. We at Saman Bank have really, really put a lot of time and money in there to make our branches look sexy. So when people come in, they feel a fresh of air. They feel, wow, this is a solid bank. I feel associated. I love the fact that our board accepted that in every branch, we've got a little kiddie play area. So you can bring your children, let them play while you maybe do your banking. To create that sort of fresh, I love we have a flower budget, maybe bring them a cup of teas and coffees and so welcome. I think that's very, very important. But the thing is, by getting rid of your overheads of the branches, where are these cost savings? The cost savings you can give to your customer. Provide them with better service. Don't provide them with legacy branches. So anyway, I mean, what I love here at Emirates Towers, I normally stay there. At the bottom there is the future banking. I don't know if you've seen. This is the future Emirates bank branch. Very, very sexy. They've got a little robot saying, "Hi, I'm Pepper. How can I help you?" And then as you interact, and you just associate yourself with a very sophisticated bank. I love that. If anyone ever goes to the Emirates Towers, go to the branch, because the banking branch of the future really, really is sexy. And if you want to find out about any of the Emirates Bank services, go sit in this three-dimensional multimedia experience, all brought to you by Emirates Bank. I think that's fantastic. Okay, we all know that the world is changing. I call it today, next generation of humans are basically mobile erectors. Basically, we are evolving to have a mobile in our hands all the time. Also, the other thing I think is that I'm talking emotionally, passionately. The desktop is dying or dead. The future is mobile. As of 2015, more searches have taken place on Google on the mobile platform than on the desktop. And I was so glad to see that a few days ago when Google made their revenue announcement, their searches has exploded on the mobile platform. The mobile platform is the platform if you want to provide convenience to your customer around the world. Just from Iran, what an amazing development. Bearing in mind, Iran's been under sanctions, tremendous penetration. One of the things which people don't appreciate, Iran just across the border, almost got 98% population is banked, which is just amazing. Also, if you actually look at the number of smartphones, I think it's about 50, 60, 70% smartphone utilization. ATMs is now 35,000 ATM. Debit cards, 300 million debit cards are now in circulation. Even though this is a country that's not allowed to use Visa, American Express, or MasterCard. Amazing. Most of it is homegrown. Fantastic. I'm really proud. Our bank alone has got 200,000 points of sales, although some of them are not working as well. But let's say 80% of them are okay. What are the challenges that I see for the banks today? As I said, this is just 25 minutes. I just want to talk about what you should be doing. Today, the customers are no longer loyal. They used to say, "Oh, my daddy always worked with, I don't know, the Bank of Melli or the Emirates Banks or the Noor Islamic. I'm always going to bank with Noor." Gone are those days. People couldn't care less about the loyalty of the bank. What they care about is simplifying their lives. And I see this in San Francisco. I see this in the UK. People just want convenience. And people are very, very happy to say, 35 years I've been with Barclays Bank. I'm now going to go with the new Metro Bank or with the new Sexy One Bank because it's convenient and reduces the overheads. It doesn't have all these wretched hidden costs. So the question comes now, and also one of the things I love is that the government in Europe, and UK and in Europe and America actually encouraging people to swap their bank accounts. And it's guaranteed that within 5%, this encourages competition. I love to see that sort of dynamic competition being placed in this region as well. So new challenger bank can really come on, challenge the established banks. So therefore, providing a better service to the customer. It's the convenience of the customer that's going to guarantee the growth in the future of these banks. And the other thing I see is that in the olden days, I don't know if maybe if you remember, when you wanted to learn, you would then go, "Oh, I know a friend at the Bank of Barclays or the Bank of Emirates. Go and speak to him. He'll give you a loan." So you would go there, "Please, Mr. Mohammed, the bank manager, you know me, you know my father. Please, can you give me a loan?" Those days have gone. What people now do, vast majority, when you want a loan, you want a savings account, you don't need to speak to the bank manager. Anyway, the bank manager's here today, gone tomorrow. What you do is you go to comparison sites. You type in your specification, "I'm looking for a loan, this is how much." Then the comparison sites will then connect up to all the banks and work out, go to bank X, don't go to bank Y. So then the customer leads the communication. The question comes now, can the banks support standard APIs, application program interface? So comparison sites, those of them who are part of this will be able to get the future business. Those who say, "No, sorry, we're not part of you, you've got to come to us, and we will sell you our services and our associated services." Those days are going to die. Whenever I see any bank or anything saying, "We're not going to be part of an open standard, we're not going to allow standard competition," I fear for the future. Because it is competition that will drive the prices down and improve the convenience to the customer. Excellent. One of the sort of the companies are very, very happy to be associated, and I helped them as part of Level 39 to launch to where we are. It's companies like TransferWise. I love TransferWise. They're one of the first companies to really the market to provide personal-to-personal foreign exchanges across the borders. Now it's worth multi-billion dollars. I was part of mentoring them at Level 39. Now they're invested, I think, by Richard Branson. Very, very big. Now these are taking on the big banks. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I feel embarrassed when I go and actually when I arrive here at the Dubai International Airport, I look at the rates of the Noor Islamic or the Emirates. I see the ridiculous rates, 5% between the buy and the sell rate. I mean, that's disgusting. That's terrible rate. And in fact, one time I went to exchange for money at Noor. They said, don't come to us. Go to the local exchange at the mall because you get a much better rate. I mean, this should not happen. We should not be giving bad rates to our customers. And companies like these companies, peer-to-peer foreign exchange transfers, although some of them are having difficulty coming into the UAE market because of whatever regulatory reasons. But all that will mean is that our customers in this region should be getting a better deal, or the banks should be competing with these by providing. But I think for now, there is some issues, and at the end, it's the customer who loses if we don't allow innovation into this region. The other thing is, I spoke recently at ArabNet in Lebanon, similar issues. I'm really disappointed how slow NFC, near-field communication, although some people say in this area, NFC stands for not for customer. But NFC really should be everywhere, should be standardized. It shouldn't be like companies like UAE, Mashrek Bank, fantastic. I love Mashrek. They're one of the leading innovative banks in this region. I kiss them on both cheeks. And there are some innovative banks like the Audi Bank in Lebanon. But that should not be the case. All the banks in this region should be able to use NFC, therefore providing fantastic convenience to the customers. I mean, I go to Carrefour and I say, do you have the Carrefour smart wallet? No, I said, I've got Apple and I've got Android, which is used almost everywhere in the world. Sorry, you have to use the Carrefour smart wallet. Ridiculous, these little islands, which is going to cause, I think, problems in the long term. We need to standardize ASAP. One of the new innovations is putting NFC on smart devices. Watch this.
People like the idea that it's a new way to pay. It's new, it's innovative.
I think customers will be asking for this. Customers want this because it makes their lives quicker and easier.
If you're using it, for example, on the bus or in the supermarket, where you don't have to fumble around for cards in your bag or in your wallet.
Now, the thing about these NFC devices, which you can link up to an account or preload it, now Android watches, but obviously I'm a Google guy, but also Apple watches, they're all got NFC compliant, and they work across all the undergrounds, all the buses, parking in London. This is part of the central bank, which just said the NFC technology, here it is, all the banks adopt it. Don't do proprietary, don't do, this only works with the clients of this bank, not with the other banks. Those are one of the sort of lessons I've learned in the world. And the market is moving so quickly, you must work together to standardize. Don't do proprietary little island solutions, because you will find that the customers will not adopt it, and you will lose out internationally. Okay, well, moving on. The other key technology providers, which are Apple Pay, which has dominated the NFC with the smart wallet, Android Pay, which now 80% of all the smartphones in the world, I think right now it's about 2 billion smartphones out there and exploding massively, support the Android Pay standard. Samsung Pay, very exciting. Have you heard of Samsung Pay? Nice thing is on the Samsung, I think 5, 6, and, or is this 6, 7, and 8? You can basically, POSs that are not NFC compliant can still work with the Samsung Pay because it emulates the magnetic strip. You'll see that. Fantastic. Why aren't we adopting these standards ASAP in this region to provide this great service to the customers? And they all support tokenizations and the NFC. So, the security issues have already been pretty well covered with the European central banks, with the American central banks. And I think the sooner we adopt these international standards in the region, the better. I mean, this is my electronic wallet. I'll buy a smartphone. You see, I've got SBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation, Santander, all sorts of cards in there. I just select one of the default cards, touch it, and ultimately goes through here. The other thing which is interesting is that also with these smart wallets, You can have your loyalty cards built in. So automatically, when I go to Marks and Spencer's, I pay with my smart wallet. It automatically asks my smart wallet, does he have a smart Marks and Spencer loyalty card? Yes, I do. Add the points to it. Okay, moving on. One of the things I really love is the fact that you're going to be able to have, in Google, you'll be able to have multiple smart wallets. So this is the Barclays smart wallet, HSBC smart wallet. I don't like these proprietary. I like standardized. I like to be part of a universal standard, not a proprietary standard. Let's just quickly go through here. This is why I love this. This is going to, I think, radically change the world. People like Google and people like Apple. How many people in the world use Gmail? 1.5, 1.6 billion people. And then you can now do this.
Now you can send and request money for free, directly from the Gmail app. Whether you're collecting money for your pug meetup or paying a friend back for those shoes you just had to have, all you need to do is tap the Attach button in your Gmail app and you can send or request money with no fees. Money received can be transferred straight to a bank account right from the email. And best of all, you and your friends don't need to download another app. Get started sending money in Gmail today.
Amazing. And soon, imagine if you can send to any person across international borders, straight into your Google Play account. You know, what will this do for the majority of the startups that I see around the world? It could revolutionize, and these things are happening. The other thing which I think is extremely sexy, in-app purchases. One of the great things about Amazon, why I invested in them almost sort of 12, 13 years ago, was that one-click checkout. One click and you checked out. Most other people couldn't compete. Now, with the in-app applications, if you configure your bank account or your credit card in your Apple Pay or your Android Pay, any app developer can have a single checkout. So any app developer can now become a one-click checkout Amazon. I think that's going to be very, very big. This is Samsung, but I think it's worth just having a look at this. Samsung Pay is going to revolutionize.
$34.79. You see that? She just paid using her phone. I know, but they don't have the tap thingy here.
You sure that's gonna work here?
Yeah, why wouldn't it?
I've just never seen anyone pay with their phone here. I think those only work at, like, fancy grocery stores.
These are not NFC-compliant POSs.
We fancy.
Introducing Samsung Pay, the new mobile payment that works virtually anywhere your cards can be swiped or tapped, so you can use it without changing the places you shop, just the way you pay.
So it emulates the magnetic strip as if you swiped it. It's efficient, it's convenient, and then it immediately replaced. I mean, for example, just to give a quick story. 2 weeks ago, I lost my Santander card. It was someone guy in Nigeria was using it. Santander phoned me saying, your card has been stolen. We've cancelled it. We're going to issue you with a new card. It will take 1 week before it gets to you in Brighton. Great, but they said, we can see you've got your virtual card with the Santander card account. Switch it on the internet and it gets replaced within 5 seconds. So I had my new card, new data validity in my smart wallet, which I can use immediately. Think of the cost saving associated with that. I should have said, forget about the physical card. I'm going to use the virtual card. Fantastic. I'm running out of time. There's other really exciting things I want to sort of talk to you about. One of the nice things which I love is that people love the technologies, particularly the new generation, but still, the banking sector in the Middle East, around the world, you've only got, I think, about 4 or 5 years to continue your loyalty with your customers. If you lose that lead, then people are going to moving towards technology providers. Question is, can the banks, during that time, take the opportunity to provide great convenience to your customer? Because people still trust their bank more than they do with other technology providers. But that is changing. You don't want to get in a situation where younger generations say, you're with the bank, forget it. I'm with Facebook, or I'm with Google, or with Apple. You don't want to reach that situation. So, what's the most important thing people want today? It's convenience, convenience, convenience at a reduced cost. I'm not, in any way, loyal to anybody. I'm fluid. I just want what's going to make my life easy. Oops, excuse me. Moving forward. That's what I'm talking about. I love that some innovations such as the HSBC have really done a lot of work. For example, instead of people logging into the mobile app, before they log in, they can actually see their balance. That is an example of convenience. Even before I even log in, I can see my balance, as I said with it. MasterCard, they're doing a snap selfie by looking at it, it will log you in and authenticate you. That's an example of convenience. We're doing a lot of work, and I really try to push this in Saman Bank to provide usability labs. Before any of our apps go out, or basically you check to see what a customer, I always think about, have Ali stupid and Ali sophisticated. Two typical customers sit there, look at how they interact with the app, and we can work out whether this is a great app or whether it's not so good app, and compare with the competition, learn from the competition. CRM is very important. I'm flicking through. Your presence on the media, the social media is so important. Any banker should have a monitor. We use a company called Mention.com, which monitors anything to do with your company or organization, and then you should be able to react quickly. Amazing amount of startups happening. One of the things I look at is that banks should have to work with startups. I consider banks to be like elephants, and startups are like little clever chihuahuas. The chihuahua sits on top of the bank and maybe can steer the bank into the right direction. You need the startups for the flexibility, but the banks have got the credibility, have got the licenses as appropriate. So it's important to get these two marriages placed there. I'm going to go relative through. What I love is I look around here and I see how many of these startups are really innovative, how many of them are doing basically the same thing. I see very few that are innovative there, to be honest with you. I'm always looking at technologies which add something extra. Not that we're yet another mobile payment. Yeah, we can pay with mobile phone. That boat or that ship has come and gone. The question is, what extra do you see? Flicking through. The 2 or 3 really interesting initiatives that I think is going to affect the world, and that is, one of the things is the Payment Service Directive. How many of you have heard of the Payment Service Directive? It sounds boring, but it's going to be amazing. This forces all the banks to open their APIs to fintechs and accelerators. I see my red light is going. That is something, I think, be aware of it. It's going to basically enable people like Amazon. You know, when you're buying things on Amazon, you normally will go to Amazon. They will have a payment gateway. The payment gateway has a relationship with MasterCard. MasterCard will then get paid from your bank. All these, I call them sent off the record parasital costs, 1%, 0.5%, 2%, 1%, 2%. But with the Payment Service Directive, people like Amazon can directly access your bank account, can directly take the money and put it into your bank. Think of the cost saving associated with it. And that could then be passed on to your customers. I'm going to flick through them. Be careful of that one. I think the other thing, the voice is the new touch. You'll see voice becoming...
After saying, Alexa, open Capital One, and speaking your personal key, just ask Alexa about your account.
What's my checking account balance?
Your available checking account balance is $5,300.
Alexa can also give you the balances for savings accounts, credit cards, and more. Just say which one you want.
Okay, flicking through. 2 other initiatives that I think is going to happen big time. I'm beginning in San Francisco. One is proximity. The new version of Bluetooth coming out there. As soon as you walk into a branch, they'll be able to detect that Mr. Ali has come in. And the bank manager will say, go and say hello to Mr. Ali. He hasn't been into the branch for 6 months. He's one of our great VIP. He's in the 3rd desk, just standing there looking at the board. Proximity is going to be so important. And here's just a little video of what these things are doing. She walks in. The system will detect. Mrs. Ali has walked in. She's there. This is going to revolutionize customer relationships with the bank. Okay, flicking forward. The other thing I like is virtual reality and augmented reality. Here's an example of an Australian bank.
Take your credit or your debit card out of your wallet or your purse, place it under the camera, and you're in action. You'll be able to see what you're spending your money on. Check your available balance, the last 5 transactions, how much you've spent on your card in the last 5 weeks.
Okay, cool. Moving on. Blockchain, you've heard of it. Remember, blockchain is going to be so big. So many fintech accelerators are into blockchain. Vast majority, I think, are going to go down the toilet. The one or two standards going to come. I think the biggest player is IBM. Really pioneering blockchain. Blockchain is like internet provides means of communication of data. Blockchain, probably the only thing you need to know about, is a means of transferring value. It's an amazing idea, and it will reduce transaction costs in banking in a big way. And the real people to play is central banks of any country. They need to adopt their blockchain ASAP. And you will see a massive reduction of cost to the customer. That's just a quick summary. There's a lot more to talk about. I really do think your mobile app is the future. Let's quickly go through. I mean, we at Saman Bank, and I'm sure a lot of banks, really focusing on our usability, on how to create the best app that you can get. And just final advice, finish up, invest in the best mobile app that you can do. to provide the best convenience, work together with Fintech Accelerate. So many banks, like Reuters, I know, Barclays, they've all got a whole bunch of Fintech Accelerate. Although it's a really tough market, they're all competing for a similar Fintech. Don't spend on something that's basically regurgitating the standard. Do something that's really different. That's something that will stand the international competition. Sometimes in Iran, I see these little startups. They're only there because it's closed off to international competition. But when the international opens up, can they compete on their own? Will there be a standard that will be adopted around the world? Those are, I think, some of the things to work for. And the other thing is, ultimately, invest in research and development. Usability is so important, and ultimately provide fantastic convenience. Just make sure, am I doing something that is better than anyone else? Am I providing convenience? And am I constantly looking at unnecessary costs? Get rid of that fountain in the foyer. Get rid of those first-class travel. Provide lean, mean services to your customer. That is the success for Bank of the Future.
Ladies and gentlemen, an incredibly high energy. Please, a presentation, round of applause for Mr. Farshad Nowshadi. Thank you so much.